This past year has changed parenting in a way that we would have never expected.
Today we have licensed professional counselor Decca Knight here to discuss how you can regulate new parental stress at home caused by the pandemic. Decca, thanks so much for joining us, and we are just ready to glean all of your knowledge from you today.
I'm happy to be here.
Yes. So in what ways has parenting changed this past year? I know that's a big question, but see if you can narrow that down.
It is such a big question. And I think I have talked to so many families who have really changed the way that they've parented. And it's gone in a lot of different directions. Some families have become closer and really honed in on their parenting skills and really adjusted. And some other parents have really been overwhelmed, rightfully so. They've been at home, they've been with their kids more, they've had to do the education, they've had to be the principal, they've had to be the counselor, they've had to be the social interaction for their kids. So, families have adapted in a lot of different ways, but it's put a lot of additional stress on families for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and a lot of families, they've felt, understandably, more tension. So what has higher levels of stress really done?
Well, I think for a lot of families, when they've been in the same space for a long time, they haven't taken a lot of time to kind of take their own personal time to kind of do that self-care. And so what I've seen from a lot of parents is they're calling me and saying, I'm never away from my kids. I love my kids, but I'm never away from them. And it's so incredibly stressful. And so we've talked a lot about, how can you do that self-care? How can you take some you time? Is it going and, taking a run outside, going and taking a nice walk? Does it mean going out and, sitting outside and reading some? How can you get away just for a little while? Because we have all that one-on-one time. It can be completely overwhelming for a lot of families.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, and how do they recognize maybe some of those triggers of, oh, I'm really stressed right now and I need to do something? Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's a great question. So I think, what I always tell parents is if you see that you are yelling more often, you see that you're getting more overwhelmed more often, you see that you're snapping at your kids more often, and these are not things that you would normally get upset with them about, maybe that's a big cue to you that you need to take some time for yourself. If you're just feeling like you're not as regulated, if you're feeling like you are just getting on your kids more often.
Yeah.
Yeah. Been doing that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of guilt with that. I think a lot of parents are like, I feel bad about it. And they snap. And then they're like, oh, but I feel so bad later. And, it's just that balance.
It is. And so I think that, you have to be proactive. I think that a lot of times parents are only reactive when they're stressed. And what I mean by that is they realize maybe that they're snapping or that they're getting overwhelmed, and then they'll do something to take care of themselves. But what I would prefer is that you take care of yourself first, that you make a time each day, you carve out that time each day, to do that self-care, if that's yoga, if that's dancing, if it's listening to fun music, if it's reading something you love, and you make it a priority, because if you don't, then eventually you're going to get to the point where you can't contain, all that stress anymore. And it's going to, come out towards your family members.
Yes. All right. Well, thank you so much, Decca. And for you guys at home, if you want to get in touch with her, you can head to blueridgeparenting.com.